in the second PU chapter 7, evolution. Evolution is a slow and gradual changes which occur in organisms. Organisms which we see today were existed in some other form. These organisms have undergone change. This kind of descent with modification known as evolution. Descended with some modification, these organisms. That is called evolution. Evolution is undisputable fact. Many evidences are derived from the various fields of knowledge like the morphology, anatomy, and the paleontology, embryological evidences. So these are all the various evidences. Let me start with some morphological evidences. So homologous organs and analogous organs are some of these evidences which are in support of organic evolution. Homologous organs, HSS one code word. These are the organs which have similar structure but different function. Similar structure but different function. And they show divergent evolution. Similar structure but different function. For example, the four limbs of whale, bat, cheetah and human beings. All these mammals, they have this humerus bone, radio ulna, carpals, metacarpals and digits. Similar structure but different function. Even the development of heart to brain shows similar structure but different function, functions. Examples for homologous organs. Coming to the plants, so thorn in bougainvillea and tendril in cucurbita, they have similar structure because they are the modified axillary buds. Axillary bud, that is the stem portion, modified to thorn in bougainvillea, same axillary bud, modified to tendril in cucurbitaceae. Hence, similar structure but different function. Such organs. So, homologous organs shows that the organisms have evolved from same common ancestor. Analogous organs, it is quite opposite to homologous organs. Homologous organs. Here, similar function but different structure. For example, lifeless wing of an insect and the wing of a bird. Wing of a bird will have same bones, but wing of insect, no bones at all. So, but similar function but different structure. Such organs are called analogous organs. For example, in plants, sweet potato and potato. Sweet potato is a modified root and potato is a modified stem, but similar function but different structure. Similarly, eyes of octopus and eyes of mammals, so have similar function but different structure. And flipper in dolphin and penguin. Dolphin is a mammal, penguin is aptrodite, that is a reptile. So similar function but different structures. So these are all the examples for analogous organs. So in this analogous organs there is convergent evolution directed towards the center. Convergent. So towards a particular function, this shows convergent evolution. So both analogous and homologous organs are the evidences in support of organic evolution. So one important thing not given so far, the proteins and the genes. So the similar function but different structure of genes and proteins can be seen in organisms. This is also an evidence in support of organic evolution. And the most important proof for evolution comes from the branch paleontology. paleontology. So paleontological evidence. So it is a concrete proof. Fossils are the concrete proof if the evolution brought to the bar. So that forms a final proof comes from the fossils. We know very well, study of fossils called paleontology, and this evidence called paleontological evidences. So the organisms, the plants and animals which are buried in the past, remnants of plants and animals, they are called fossils. And the paleontological, the geographical, the paleontological, the graph, it shows that the previous one, the oldest one, here only fishes, amphibians, they are present. And coming to the Mesozoic era, that is Tertiary, Quaternary and Cretaceous. So they show only the mammals and all. In case of animals, different types of mammals we can see. So the oldest fossil means it belongs to only amphibians, pisces, etc. And coming to the recent, finally, the advanced organisms can be seen. This shows that these organisms are evolved slowly, that is from pisces, amphibians, later reptiles, apes and mammals. So paleontological evidence is a concrete proof for the evolution. Coming to the Silurian period, the long back, many million years back, Silurian period, only the plants existed there. It shows xylophytes, Spinopsida members, and Rhynia, Chlorophyta and Tracheophyta members represent, that is in the Silurian period. And coming to the Devonian period and the next to Devonian period, Carboniferous period, ferns were, we can see the fossils of the ferns. So, and then coming to the after Carboniferous, Permian period, Lycopods. Next, Triassic, Jurassic and Cretaceous. During these periods, Triassic period. So the Jurassic period is represented by the ferns, Cycadopsida members. Next to this, in the tertiary period, or the Cretaceous period, is represented by Neatum, Ginkgo biloba and dicots, that is Cretaceous period. And Tertiary period represented by monocots and very important, monocots and bryophytes. They are advanced as given in the this table. And coming to the animals, before the Carboniferous period, many reptiles became extinct. In the Permian period, that is sauropods and pelycosaurs, they became extinct. And in the Triassic, theropods became extinct, and only in the Tertiary period, dinosaurs became extinct. And this is about the fossil evidences in support of organic evolution. So, this evolution, the father of evolution, Charles Darwin. So, his theory of organic evolution based on the following ideas. That is, number one is the overproduction. All the organisms are capable of producing the offsprings of their own kind by the reproduction. As there is reproduction, there will be overproduction. When there will be overproduction, so Charles Darwin, he is influenced by Professor Matthews. Matthews. So Matthews, who published an essay on human populations. So similarly, the human population also increases at the geometric ratio. So similarly here, when there is this Charles Darwin, he was influenced by Professor Matthews also, who published essay on human population, and he proposed overproduction because of reproduction. And when there is overproduction, struggle between the organisms arises, and that is struggle for existence and survival of the fittest organism, and then finally the natural selection. So finally, it is the nature which selects the organisms which have favorable variations, and it eliminates the organisms which do not have favorable variations. So the example is industrial melanism. It dates back to the 18th century, that is 1850 to 1920. So between 1850 and 1920, in the 1850, prior to industrial revolution, in England, London city, two kinds of moths were existed. One with block wings, dark colored wings, and one with light colored wings. So two kinds of moths were existed. So before industrial revolution, no pollution, and the melanic forms, that is the moths having dark colored wings, were easily identified by its predator bird and were eliminated, and only the light colored moths survived because they are when they sit on the plants along with the lichens. So because of cryptic coloration, same coloration, the robin birds could not, its predator could not identify this kind of the moths which have light colored wings. When the industrial revolution began, from 1850 to 1920, in this period, only melanic forms survived because the gases emanated from the chimneys of the factories, industries gave a black colored background with the cryptic coloration. Because of this coloration, black color, everywhere pollution. Lichens are the indicators of pollution. If lichens are present, means no pollution at all. So here lichens, no lichens, and these gases gave a black colored background. In this cryptic coloration, the moths could not, the bird could not identify the melanic forms because of the black colored background, and this light colored wings having moths completely eliminated, that is Biston betullaria, peppered moths. So this is an example for the natural selection, because variations occur in organisms. Though variations occur in organisms, finally it is the nature selects the organisms which have the favorable variations, and it eliminates the organisms which do not have favorable variations. One more example given: continuous spraying of pesticides, DDT, etc. Pesticides. So pesticides, these insects or the pests, they developed some resistance to the pesticides. Similarly, continuous spraying of DDT produced some mutant mosquitoes on which DDT has no effect at all. These are all the examples for the natural selection. But it is a scholastic process. It is a chance factor only. It is not a directed process. This is very important. So the evolution is not a directed process. It is a scholastic process, which is a chance factor. Depending upon the situation in the nature. So these are all the examples for natural selection. So after the recent knowledge has changed this kind of Darwinism. Darwin was unaware of the reasons for variations. Now we know that variations are chiefly due to mutation. Mutation is sudden change in hereditary material which is heritable. So many examples given for this kind of why the variations occur in organisms. One such is Hardy-Weinberg's law. According to Hardy-Weinberg's law, so gene frequency remains the same in organisms unless it is upset by variations like mutation, etc. This is called Hardy-Weinberg's law. Here it is P plus Q whole square equals 1. That is P plus Q whole square equals 1. So the gene frequency remains same if it is not upset by the variations, that is according to Hardy-Weinberg's law. Sometimes problem will be given because P is represented by capital letter A, which is the dominant character, Q represented by the recessive character small letter A, and some problems will be given, so you have to multiply and all those things. If the P is given, we can easily find out the Q, that is the recessive character, how much it is, because P plus Q whole square should give 1. So that is the one answer should be given. So problems are also given with reference to this Hardy-Weinberg's law. And this kind of variation is because of genetic drift. Genetic drift, that is change in the frequency called genetic drift. So gene frequency remains the same unless it is upset by the variations between. That is called Hardy-Weinberg's law. Once again, P plus Q whole square equals 1. And it is also because of the isolation. Some in the population, the moving out of population is called isolation. Such isolated do not breed with these things, and they develop a new species called speciation, and finally they are entirely different from their original ancestors. This is called founder's effect. And because of this also variations occur in organisms, and production of new species as they move away, they do not interbreed with this one. This is called speciation. And single step large mutation. That is called saltation, that was proposed by Hugo de Vries. So who proposed mutation theory. So single step large mutation called saltation, isolation, genetic drift. These are all the various things which bring about the variations. And one more is adaptive radiation. The process of organic evolution begins from a point of geographical area, radiating in different directions with different adaptations. That is called adaptive radiation. So this adaptive radiation, so examples given in the textbook are: number 1, placental mammals and Australian marsupials. So a lot of variations can be seen. This is because of it is a kind of convergent evolution again. So different variations we can notice there. And so coming to the placental mammals towards one end, and Australian marsupials. So one code word, LBW, mam. So that is mam LBW, mole, and then marsupial mole, M. Anteater, that is numbat, and mouse, and then marsupial mouse, that is mam, L. Lemur, spotted cuscus, and bobcat, tiger cat, Tanzanian cat, tiger cat, and then wolf, Tanzanian wolf, flying squirrel, flying phalangers. So these are all the examples given in the textbook. Adaptive radiations, that is also called the variations are chiefly due to this one, or attributed to this one also. Charles Darwin was also influenced by the Alfred Wallace. Alfred Wallace also visited archipelago and observed so many variations in the organisms, but they were not aware of the reasons for the variations. Now we know that variations are chiefly due to these things, that is genetic drift, isolation, and then the founder's effect, and then saltation, adaptive radiation. So these are all the various things because of these variations occur in organisms. And though variation occur in organisms, it selects the organisms which have favorable variations. This is known as natural selection. So again, the origin of life. So I twisted the lesson. Actually, it is given in the beginning, origin of life, but the continuation. So I started with the evolution, because this chapter begins with evolution. So actually, the chapter commences from the origin of life. What is life? Life is a dynamic process of coordinated system of physical, chemical and biological activities physically represented by protoplasm. That is called life. That is definition for the life. Nobody knows how life came into existence. Nobody knows. So many theories came into existence, like abiogenesis and then biogenesis. Louis Pasteur did an experiment using swan-necked flask to disprove the theory of abiogenesis, a special designed flask. The most accepted theory is the chemical evolution. Chemical evolution. That was physico-chemical theory that was proposed by Oparin. According to Oparin, life did not arouse all of a sudden. According to this physico-chemical theory or chemical evolution, life did not arouse all of a sudden. It has taken millions and millions of years. Because of physical and chemical reactions, life came into existence. Primitive Earth did not contain free elemental oxygen, but contained hydrogen, ammonia, methane, moisture and mixture of these gases. And these gases, because of high temperature, condensed to form clouds poured down as rain. So this HAM, that is hydrogen, ammonia, methane, dissolves in the rainwater to form micromolecules. And after the macromolecules, like simplest amino acids like glycine, alanine and the fatty acids. And from this, the macromolecules like protein, colloid-like protein particles called co-adsorptives, and from then the DNA, RNA, and then prokaryotic organisms, eukaryotic organisms, heterotrophs, and then finally autotrophs. Once the autotrophs came into existence, the life came into existence as the autotrophs evolve oxygen during their photosynthesis. Once the oxygen evolved, life forms came into existence. Proof for this comes from the experiments of Urey and Miller. They designed operators in such a way so that the conditions were similar to that of the conditions which were existed on the pre-biotic earth or primitive earth or the nascent earth. So the operators consist of round bottomed flask and a spark chamber, tungsten filaments connected to this, a vacuum pump, inlet to outlet to U-shaped trap tube and a condenser are the parts associated with this. They circulated hydrogen, ammonia, methane and water vapor, evacuated by using evacuated the whole apparatus using vacuum pump, and they circulated hydrogen, ammonia, methane, water vapor, and finally they were able to collect the micromolecules such as the fatty acids and amino acids. This is the proof for this one. Anyhow, the universe came into existence 20 billion years ago, and the earth came into existence about 4.5 billion years ago, and the non-cellular forms appear 3 billion years ago, but the cells appear that is the 2000 million years ago. 2000 million years ago. So that is the time scale. So 20 billion universe, 4.5 earth, 3 billion years ago the non-cellular formed. So, and 2000 million years ago, the first cell. And then the next is 200 million years ago. 200 million years ago, the earth was dominated by the reptiles, ichthyosaurs and tyrannosaurus rex, which has a height of 20 feet. That was existed. And at 65 million years, they became extinct. And one more I have forgotten during this one, the variations chiefly also due to continental drift. So when North American and South America separated because of continental drift, the South American horse, hippopotamus, rabbit, bear, these mammals overridden by the North America. So continental drift also brings about the variations. This I have forgotten. So variations are also chiefly due to this also. And then 15 million years ago, Dryopithecus, Ramapithecus. Dryopithecus resembled ape, Ramapithecus resembled human-like. And 3 to 4 million years ago, in Tanzania and Ethiopia, primate-like fossils occurred. And then, the 2 million years ago, from East Africa, Australopithecus. So this fossil, 4 feet height, and probably they used stones as their weapons. And then after this, the Homo habilis, the first man, and his brain capacity 650 to 800 cc. After this, in 1891, Java, one fossil found called Homo erectus, 900 cc, the brain capacity. And then next to this, Neanderthal man, 1 lakh to 75,000 years ago, Neanderthal man existed. And then after Neanderthal man, Homo sapiens, from 1 lakh to the 75,000 to 10,000 years back, Homo sapiens, and 18,000 years back, the cave system, it was in practice, and 10,000 years ago, agriculture came into existence. These are all the various aspects about the evolution, which is very, very important for your NEET examination. All the best, and don't forget to subscribe these lessons. With this, I have completed the explanation of the 7th chapter, that is evolution. Please subscribe. Thank you all.